Okay, we're back at the review for 6.7 through 6.8.5. Video froze, so here's the second part of it. I don't know how much you heard before. We were at a 30, 60, 90 on the long leg. Going back to the short leg, we have to divide by 2. Once you're on the short leg, going to the long leg times by square root 3, which means that y is 10 square root 3. Number 16. This 7 is on the long leg. To get from the long leg back to the short leg, you're going to have to divide by square root 3. So I'm going to do this over on the side. 7 divided by square root 3. We're going to have to rationalize the denominator. So we multiply by square root 3 over square root 3, which gives us 7 square root 3 over square root 9, which is 3. There's your short leg. Getting from the short leg to the hypotenuse, multiply by 2. When I multiply this by 2, I only multiply the top of the fraction by 2. So that's 14 square root 3 over 3. In a 45, 45, 90, the two legs are the same. Legs make up the right angle, so that's 5. Means A is 5. To get from one of the legs to the hypotenuse, we just multiply by square root 2, 5 square root 2. Going backwards, if we're on the hypotenuse and you want to get back to a leg, divide by square root 2. Anytime you're getting smaller, you want to divide. Getting bigger, you want to multiply. Divide by square root 2, this is just 9. That one's 9, that one's 9. For number 19, that 8 is on the short leg. The easy one, multiply by 2 to get to the hypotenuse. 8 times 2 is 16. Multiply by square root 3 to get to the long leg. That is 8 square root 3. On a 45, 45, 90, to get from the hypotenuse back to a leg, divide by square root 2. Rationalize out the denominator. 10 square root 2 over 2, which is 5 square root 2. Here, let's see, this 15, that's on the long leg, so I want to divide by the square root of 3. 15 divided by square root 3. We're going to multiply by square root 3 over square root 3, which gives us 15 square root 3 over 3. Simplify, that's 5 square root 3. That's the short leg. From the short leg to the long leg, multiply by 2, 10 square root 3. 22. 45, 45, 90, the legs are equivalent. So if that's 2 square root 6, this one is 2 square root 6. From a leg to the hypotenuse in a 45, 45, 90, we multiply by square root 2. 2 square root 6 times square root 2 is 2 square root 12. But 2 square root 12 simplifies. 12 is 4 times 3, so that's square root 4, square root 3. 2 times this square root of 4 is 2. Gives us 4 square root 3. Number 23. Let's see, that 3 square root of 3 is opposite of the 30, so it's on the short leg. Short leg to the hypotenuse, we just times by 2. So that's going to give us 6 square root 3. From the short leg to the long leg, times by square root of 3. 3 square root 3 times square root 3 is 3 square root 9. 3 times 3, which is 9. So M here is 9. Okay, moving on. Oh, and I did not draw these figures out first before I turned the video on, so going from scratch. The perimeter of a square is 44. So I'm going to put a square in here. Perimeter is 44, which means each leg, 44 divided by 4 is 11. Length of a diagonal. This is a square, so all four sides are congruent. This triangle that shows up here then is an isosceles triangle, so we have a 45, 45, 90. Multiply by square root 2, so that diagonal is 11 square root 2 centimeters. Altitude of an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle has three 60-degree angles. When we drop an altitude then, we create a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Side length is 6, so 6 here. This whole thing down here is 6. That altitude splits it in half, gives us a 3, which makes sense. If this is the hypotenuse is 6, then the short leg is 3, and the altitude, short leg times square root of 3, so that altitude is 3 square root 3 inches. Next two. Gosh, those rectangles look to be exactly the same size. I copy and pasted them, changed a few things around, but they're not. We're going to look at them very differently. We got to find the length of the diagonal in both. This one has a 30, 60, 90 right triangle in it. So this is the short leg. It's opposite the 30, which means the diagonal is 2 times that, which means that's 16 meters. This one is a triple. It's a 8, 15, 17. So depending on what information is given to you in the problem depends on whether you're going to do 30, 60, 90s or triples, or 45, 45, 90s or triples. Looking at this one down here, find the perimeter of each trapezoid. Again, very similar diagrams, just different information. To find the perimeter, we're going to need to find this length here, and then we're going to have to find the whole thing. I'm going to draw in an altitude. Oh, we have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle over here. All right, let's see if that's 10. This is 12, so that means that altitude over there has to be 12. That's the short leg in that triangle, which means this piece over here is 12 times 2, or 24. Up here, this is 12 square root 3, and this section is 10. We're going to add up all of these outside pieces then. So that perimeter is, I'm going to start down here, 10 plus 12 plus 10 plus 12 square root 3 plus 24. Now this 10 plus 12 square root 3, that's the whole top piece. We just can't combine them. So let's see if we can add everything together. So we have 10 plus 12, that's 22, plus 10 is 32, and 32 plus 24 is 56. Did I do that right? 10, 12, let's see, 10 and 12 is 22, and 10, 32, plus 24, 32, 56, yeah? Plus 12 square root 3. I'm just looking at my answer key over there, and I think my answer key was incorrect for this one. This is the correct answer. Let's look at this one over here. Draw that altitude again. Here's 12. Oh, but I don't have a 30-degree angle anymore. We got a triple this time, though. I got a 12 and a 13, so that piece is 5. this piece is 10. Perimeter, if we add up all the pieces, I'm going to start on the bottom one, so I have 10 plus 12 plus the top, 15, plus the right side, 13. Let's see, 12 and 13 is 25. 10 and 15 is 25. 25 and 25 is 50. All right? And last one down here. The diagonals of this rhombus are 42 and 144. Oh, boy. Find the perimeter of the rhombus. Rhombus diagonals are perpendicular to each other. One of them is 42. They also bisect each other, which means that piece is 21. 144 for this whole thing. Half of it then would be half of 144, 72. Oh gosh, those are big numbers. I don't think we have a triple there. Let's see. What if I divide by 3? 21 divided by 3 is 7. 72 divided by 3, cool. 24, which means this piece is 25. So the perimeter is 25 times 4 is 100 millimeters. Oops, can't see, sorry. 100 millimeters. There we go. Times back by 4. Oh, times back. Oh, goofed. I goofed. On this one, I didn't on the answer key, but I forgot. What did I forget? I forgot to multiply back by 3. So this should be 75. And this should have been 75 times 4, which is 300. I'm so sorry. It's actually rather late that I'm doing this, so I'm sorry for my errors. All right, again, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, things that you still don't understand, please send me an email so I can try and straighten it out for you. Thanks very much. See you soon.